Hello, welcome back to the 10th episode of Psychiachix. We've had a massive break because the world's been on fire, but we're back. We're back. So I'm Dr. Chloe Scal, I'm a psychiatrist.
I am Dr. Natalie Gibson, also a psychiatrist.
I'm Dr. Kirsty Alderton, also a psychiatrist. Hello.
Hello. Today we're going to be talking about that song WAP.
What
is WAP? What is WAP? And what has this got to do with psychiatry? So WAP is a very sexually explicit song by Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. And we think it has a lot to do with psychiatry and people's attitudes towards sex, because there's been quite a strong reaction to it in the public domain. So for anyone who doesn't know what the song WAP is about, we're going to
stand for. What does
WAP stand for? So WAP stands for wet ass pussy.
Wet You mean wet and cushy?
Wet ass pussy in the explicit version. We're just going to read. We're going to read some of the lyrics out just quickly to give people a flavour of what the song's about. But if you haven't heard it, maybe go look it up, listen to it.
If you haven't heard it, what the hell have you been? Have you been living under a rock? Like,
no, I mean, what have you been doing during lockdown if you haven't been twerking to WAP? So what's your favourite lyrics from the song, guys?
Mine is, I want you to park that Big Mac truck right in this little garage. That one.
Brilliant. Kirsty?
Great lyric. My favourite is, I do a Kegel while it's inside, which I just think is really smart. It's a very efficient way for a woman to work on her inner muscles, you know? So anyone that's had children will understand this is an excellent exercise.
I used to do that I do that anyway. I thought that was what women do. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, so Kegel exercises when you kind of use your pelvic floor muscles to tighten your vagina.
Yeah. And you use a penis to tighten them.
Genius. You know, it's great lyrics and informative, so that's good.
And mental sound.
Yeah, my favorite lyric. Yeah, you fucking with some wet ass pussy. Bring a bucket and a mop for this wet ass pussy. You know, it's so innovative and creative.
That's modern day poetry.
It is modern day poetry. So there's been a lot of responses to this. We're going to start with the positive responses. Personally, I think it's a feminist masterpiece. I don't know what you guys think.
WAP all the way, babes.
I just think about time.
About time.
Yeah,
about time.
We love you, Cardi and Megan. Well done.
Yeah. I mean, men have been doing this for a very, very long time. So,
as someone who's listened to hip hop for a very, 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 very long time, it's about time. I mean, we have, like, you know, the black female rappers are usually seen as, like, you know, the explicit sort of sexually explicit lyrics, but they're sort of few and far between. And now there's like two of them doing it, and it's got such a massive global audience. It's not just in the hip hop community, it's like massive. It's huge. I mean, if you listen to any or most male hip hop, maybe from the 90s lyrics, they're all very sexually explicit about women, like this are. But this time, women are saying it.
I guess that's the thing. It begs the question as to why there's been such a reaction to it. So it's the song it's purely females singing and rapping. The video has only got women in it, and it's talking about them wanting sex and having a wet ass pussy, and using their sexuality to get the things that they want. And yet this has been very offensive to a lot of people, both male and female. And it does beg the question why.
I guess women taking ownership over those words and over those lyrics, over that stuff that's been said about them for so long, women actually owning it and saying it. I would imagine it's pretty threatening to quite a lot of men. I mean,
when something like that is used to shame you, so having lots of sex, being sexual, is used as a tool to shame someone, when they turn it around and use it and think of it as an asset, then it loses its power. It becomes very worrying to the person who's using it as an insult. It's a bit like the N-word. I mean, lots of debate about the N-word. I personally think it's great that black people have turned it around and used it like a term of endearment. But it's that kind of thing, isn't it? The people who are using it in a negative way realize then it's lost its power, and then, oh God, what do we do now?
I think we've spoken about this quite a lot in some of our previous episodes about sexual shame, and how women through history have been shamed for wanting sex, but also not wanting sex.
Ugh. Ugh.
Deemed,
Can't win.
yeah, they've been deemed psychiatrically, ill. Either they're hysterical because they're too sexual, they're not sexual enough.
Yeah.
So the idea that women are just owning it and saying, actually, yeah, I have a wet ass pussy.
Got some holes up in here.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. It does. It very much disempowers the slut shaming.
Yeah, well, there you go. It's like it's putting a middle finger up to slut shaming.
Absolutely.
Good on you, Cardi B.
Woo!
So personally, I think it's a feminist masterpiece. There are some women, though. This isn't, the kickback has not been exclusively male.
No.
Women have said that they think it cheapens, it cheapens feminism. What do you guys think about that?
I sort of feel like there's this idea that women, like proper women, real women, ladies, should behave in a particular way, and I think that's something that's been thrust upon us over the years. And so I guess if we're not acting to that ideal anymore, it's a bit shocking. And I think women, we're programmed to think that too. So it doesn't surprise me that women are a bit shocked. They're just kind of further along the, further down the progression, I guess, the line of realizing that actually, this is something that's been told to us. So yeah, it surprised me.
I've had a lot of interesting conversations with men and women about this, black and white people, because actually lots of people have very different opinions. What I was saying was that if you're a very conservative person, if that's the way you are inclined, quite conservative, maybe religious, then anything sexually explicit is going to be offensive to you by nature. And that maybe is a different conversation. I think saying it devalues women is ridiculous, because the whole point of feminism is not that you act a certain way to be a feminist. The point of feminism is choice and free will. That is the point of feminism. So if they want to talk about their wet ass pussies, let them do it. Like, you can't shame someone into your version of feminism. That's not what it's about. It doesn't make any sense.
They're not wet ass pussies. They belong to us.
And we get to talk about them and use them as we want to.
I had a conversation with a black male friend of mine, who was a bit on the fence, and one of his points was that the video and the lyrics and the whole shebang was adding to the fetishization of black women. It was a very interesting point. I mean, I can see where he's coming from.
It's isn't there? Because once again, it is black women who are choosing to do that. So
exactly, it's not like it's being put upon them.
No.
And if anything, like we have talked about before, black women as a type are the bottom of the rung. If you look at hierarchies, white men, white women, black men, black women are at the bottom. So let them do whatever the fuck they want. Like, I was just like, really? It's their choice.
Yeah, it's another way of kind of taking away someone's choice, though, isn't it? By saying, well, you're fetishizing yourself. It's like, but that's their choice to do that. And
about choice, isn't it? Not about what's right and wrong.
It's absolutely about choice.
Yeah. And speaking about the word conservative, I was going to mention, I guess, a congressional candidate over in the States who said that Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion are what happens when children are raised without God and without a strong father figure. I love this. Their new song, the #WAP, which I heard accidentally, made me want to pour holy water in my ears, and I feel sorry for future girls if this is their role model.
Oh God! Not only is that ridiculous, it's also quite racist.
Why do you think he feels sorry for them?
I'm guessing. Hang on. He's a white guy, right? This is a white guy.
He has it. I think he's white.
I do too.
I mean, he has a white name.
Why sorry? It's a very interesting turn of phrase. I feel sorry for them.
But also, I feel a little bit like men have been kind of whapping out their sexual stuff in for such a long time, and they've been role models for men all over the world.
Absolutely,
they're role models. But when women do it,
I call bullshit.
Exactly. So men having attractive trophy girlfriends, wives, has been seen as
a positive
thing.
It's a status symbol, if anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I feel sorry for them. I'm really taken by that phrase.
Interesting.
Why would you feel sorry for someone who is happy that they have a wet ass pussy?
Yeah, and these guys apparently support a president who once spoke of his desire to grab him by the pussy.
You know what I mean? Hello.
Sexual assault that was locker room talk. You know.
Yeah,
So,
it's okay if Donald Trump talks about your WAP,
yeah.
but if you talk about your own WAP, God forbid.
Yeah.
When did we come into a world where presidents are allowed to say grab someone by the pussy? When did that happen?
Can we not talk about Trump? Can we not? I'm gonna get a headache.
Yes, okay, let's stay away from that. It's too much.
I'm gonna rage.
Talk a bit about stripping. Should we talk about?
Should we talk about stripping?
Prostitution.
But it's all about sexual shame, women owning their sexuality. Cardi B was a stripper, so it's kind of relevant. But it's the same thing. It's where it's the treatment of sex workers, strippers, prostitutes, people with OnlyFans, and how the world or society reacts to that. Kind of gives us a flavour about where people's heads are at.
Yeah, I always find it interesting when people sort of denigrate someone for something they're doing. So people see a prostitute or sex worker and say, "Oh, it's so sad." It's like, is it? Have you asked them?
Yeah.
How do they feel about it?
Yeah.
I mean, the strippers I know are living their best lives.
Yeah, the strippers I know are living their best lives.
Living their best.
That's not to say that is always the case. There is, of course, horrible, awful of a coercion and human trafficking, but that isn't every case.
Yeah.
And I find it fascinating that people will make that assumption, that they're sex working, how sad. So
this sense that if a woman is a stripper, she's somehow vulnerable, or she's being taken advantage of in a way, we sort of have to pity her, and something must have gone wrong for her to choose to do that. But I reckon if men were stripping clubs, we'd call them entrepreneurs.
Men do strip and they don't get the same type of. I mean, there are male strippers and they don't get the same type of denigration at all.
No, they don't. There was like a whole documentary on. They make so much money, strippers. They make so much pounds, so much money. Like it's ridiculous. I think if I could make that much money in the amount of time they do.
Yeah. So who's got the power in this situation?
It's very interesting, isn't it?
Who? Yeah. I don't know.
Therein is your question, isn't it? It's power dynamics again.
Yeah. I assume that men like to think that they have the power because they take the money in and they pay to get what they want, but I'm not sure the women see it like that.
No. Yeah. And they're not allowed to do whatever they want. There are rules, and they will get kicked out or whatever if they don't abide by them. It's not a free for all.
No. Yeah. I mean, all strip clubs are different.
Well, yeah, of course, but
I always found the laws surrounding sex work quite interesting as well, because it's not actually illegal.
Yeah.
It's not illegal to sell sex for money, but the law makes it very difficult for women to do it in a safe way.
Yeah, totally.
I can never get my head around. So women, you're not allowed to do it in your own home. You're not allowed to do it with anyone else. So you can't do it with a colleague.
Yeah. So
you have to go somewhere on your own to do it. So the law purposely makes you vulnerable, which.
Well, that's why they sort of legalized it in lots of different, like Amsterdam and stuff. It's all legalized, isn't it, for safety reasons?
Yeah, so it should be. Regulation of these things, regulation of behaviours brings about safety.
Yeah. It makes me think of this. Somebody said this to me. It was a man, obviously, and they said, "I've got to get it right, so otherwise it doesn't make any sense." They said, "A key that opens many locks is a master key. A lock that is opened by many keys is a broken lock." Does that make sense?
Elaborate now.
Yeah, so the key is the man's penis, basically. So he opens many locks. It's a great key. It's a master key. It's amazing. Oh, look at this key that opens all these locks. But if you're a lock, a vagina, and you take loads of keys and you work with each key, then you're just a broken lock because you only have one key.
It's the narrative that's been pushed for so long, isn't it? That a man that goes out and sleeps with loads of women, I mean, we know, isn't it, he's celebrated. It's like this, you're amazing. A woman that does it, she's completely denigrated. You're a whore, you're whatever. Like
what What is the difference? What is the difference?
But biologically, the aim of the game is to have as many sexual partners as possible. I mean, that is literally the aim of the, that's why we're here, to reproduce and to try and get as many partners to raise your children as possible.
But that's
it does work both ways.
Yeah.
It's very powerful for a woman to have multiple male partners to protect her and her child. So it's society has kind of spun a yarn which doesn't go hand in hand with our biological making.
Yeah, it's a man's world, Chloe, that's why.
Yeah. Women used to have sex with men, like groups of men, didn't they? So they'd have sex with like 5 different men in one go.
Yeah.
In one sitting.
Yes.
When was this happening? Was this
last week? Yeah, Kirsty.
And so what they would do is she would have sex with all of them, and then they wouldn't know which was the dad.
Oh, see, okay.
They would all stick around to raise the child. I mean, based on my experience of what little babies come out, they come out literally with like their dad's head attached to them. And that is to make sure that the dad knows. So I'm sure at some point they realised probably who the dad was. But
sounds like an episode of bloody Peep Show or something.
Yeah, that's and that's it's biologically that is what as animals we're supposed to do.
I mean, none of this is like surprising. It's the same stuff we keep going on and on and on about, how we live in a society where it's one rule for men and one rule for women.
Yeah.
And whatever the basis of that is, which is mainly control and power and all that stuff, that's what it is at the end of the day. We live in a world that was made by men for men. And so if you're a woman and you try and stray out of what is expected, then you're going to get called something, some sort of name. You're going to be branded as something. Yeah. I'm just so bored of it. Like, I'm so over it.
It is boring.
Oh, it's so boring.
What I love about the lyrics in the song as well, though, is that they're basically, showing what women might want to do to other people. It's a bit like, this is all the stuff that men want to do to us, and now we're saying actually we quite like to do this as well. Like, we're not just here for your kind of, like, you think you want to do all these things to us, but actually we want them done to us, and we actually want to do them to you as well. So it's like a shock almost, as if like women don't do that.
It's complete role reversal.
Yeah.
I love it when Cardi says, "I don't cook, I don't clean, but let me tell you, I got this ring." Because she's like, fuck you guys, like, I'm not a traditional wife, but
my God.
I mean, it's kind of moot now because they're getting divorced because he was a twat, but the sentiment was there.
Yeah, I kind of forget, because I mean, I don't cook or clean either, but I haven't got a ring, but I don't cook or clean, but I forget that I think it's still
a hippie ring. Doesn't mean anything, it's just my hippie ring.
It is still quite a stereotype. I mean, I read a lot of magazines with articles written by women who say, oh, my partner's amazing. Like, after I had my child, he helped with the cooking. It's like,
I've never understood that.
You can catch me doing any of the cooking, mate.
Like he's doing you a huge favour by feeding himself and you and your child.
It's like,
this is how it's set up, isn't it? It's almost like, whatever, if a man does anything useful, he's being really helpful. And he's
like, he cooked once after I gave birth. Great. Right?
All fucking done. You just pushed out a child out of your vag, but I cooked you dinner. So I'm
gonna have to do those kegels. Exactly. If you squeeze
Kegel when it's inside.
Yeah, I mean, it's not great for the man's ego, is it, when women
But FYI, it is fine to cook clean if you enjoy it. I just feel like I need to make that clear. Like,
of course, it's about choice.
It's about choice. It's about choice.
It's not about which is right and which is wrong. It's about choice. I choose not to do any of that shit.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Sorry, shoot me.
I don't like it. I think I'm pretty shit at it, but I
still
tell myself that I'm supposed to be doing it.
Don't do those should comments, Kirsty. I've told you about those should comments. They're not good for you.
But
women... I should. Should. Says who?
I'm just reading the lyrics again. They are the lyrics that keep giving. They really
are.
Oh,
they are just a dream.
Put him on his knees. Give him something to believe in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Get your boots and your coat. My favorite, like the best part of the song, is the background when it says, "There's some boys in this house.
There's some boys in this house." Oh Christ!
So good, so good.
I mean, I think it's actually, when, to be fair, if I'm honest, so when I first read the lyrics, I was like a bit like, I didn't know what was coming, and I was a bit like, whoa. So I read the lyrics before I saw the video, and I was a bit like, whoa, whoa. Okay, I was genuinely a bit like, whoa. And actually, like, personally, I don't like, it's not the kind of language that I use.
Yeah, that's like a different argument though, isn't it?
It's completely different. Yeah, it's not the kind of language, like, as a role model, it's not the kind of language I want, you know, my little girl growing up to use. But that is a completely different, separate conversation.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Like, the what they've done is completely proportionate and appropriate to what has gone before. Like,
yes, and who they are. You know, they're not writing lyrics for a storybook.
Yeah, the rappers and male rappers have done the same.
What I heard someone say, which I thought was really interesting, was that, so you talked about your little girl, Kirsty. They said, I'd rather them listen to sexually explicit, if they're going to, obviously I'd rather them not. If they're going to listen to about sexually explicit lyrics about women, I'd rather them listen to it from a woman than from a man. Because they're both saying the same thing, aren't they? Something sexually explicit about a woman, I'd much rather them hear it from a woman, which is interesting.
I think that's a very interesting statement, because the lyrics are everywhere by men. Yeah. And why, surely you'd rather a woman was owning it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it confusing to women as well? I don't know, and men, that women think like this. Like, should a woman even think like this?
I think a lot of the time, we've spoken about this in other episodes, so sexual thoughts can really frighten people. Sex throughout the ages has been really repressed, because I think people are afraid of losing control, or I don't know, that's often sexual thoughts are sort of forbidden or unacceptable thoughts. So I think there's something about
come into mind.
Not for men, like, less so for men. Like, men, oh, look at the tits on her. You know, more accepted in
the past. They still have been, though. I think in psychiatric disorders, you still see a lot of, I had this thought and it's not okay. And sometimes there can be really difficult thoughts, like we've spoken about incestuous thoughts, or really bizarre fantasies that people just, they don't want to think about, know about, and they feel like bad, dirty people for having them, even though thoughts and feelings are always okay. It's only the action that can be wrong.
They are just thoughts.
But I think some people would find this stuff repulsive in it. Like, there's a scale of you would find repulsive. Like, personally, I don't, but we're very open-minded. But I think some people would be like, oh, that's dirty, that's wrong, that's crude, that's not.
When I had a conversation with my friend, it depends on what type of person you are. If you're particularly religious or conservative, then this song is going to offend you by definition. But it's not written for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to listen to it.
But what I find interesting, the people it does offend, do you think? I don't believe. Well, I mean, I could be wrong. I'm making an assumption, but everybody has sexual thoughts and desires. So these people, are they just so are they really repressed? Do they?
Yeah.
Because they will be there. We're animals.
Yeah, it's not. Therefore, you're a religious person. Therefore, you're not going to get them like that. It's not. Doesn't work.
Yeah, of course you're going to have sexual thoughts and desires. Do they just choose to completely repress them? And then what does that do to you?
I think it's fear-based. Like, if a woman accepts that she's got these thoughts and desires, then she's got to understand that her partner does as well. And it's really threatening in both ways, isn't it? To even accept that the person that you're with might think like this. So it's almost easier to just not.
Just ignore sexual desire, even though it's like the kind of fundamental building block of our species.
Source of all anxiety.
Yeah.
Let it out.
Let it out. Wah, wah, wah.
Oh gosh. There was a great tweet from Ben Shapiro.
Oh, I just looked him up because I couldn't remember their name.
I can't find I don't know what the original is, but
I might have it.
Oh, I just looked him up because I couldn't remember his surname, but it was the gift that kept giving.
Yeah, so he basically tweets that his wife's a doctor, and she says any woman who requires a bucket and a mop should get the medical care they require. Differential diagnosis, bacterial vaginosis, yeast infection, or trichomonas.
He completely shot himself in the face with that tweet.
Yeah. I think he said like women shouldn't have wet pussies or something.
Yeah. Oh, Ben.
Only men should make wet pussies.
I don't even know if he thinks like he thought it was a medical condition.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever seen one. Like his poor wife.
Oh God. Holy shit.
He's such an idiot. Like he totally shot himself in the face.
Yeah.
Oh, Ben.
Ben. Oh God.
Ben Shapiro. Yeah, that tickled me for many a week.
Yeah. I am amazed. I really am amazed at how strongly people feel. I mean, I'm constantly amazed how.
I think like it's insane that it's had such a, whether you're for it or against it, the fact that there's such a big conversation is weird to me. Like it's just a song. Like let them get on with it. Why are we having this?
Yeah.
It's mad, isn't it? Or because some woman wants to talk about her vagina.
Everybody has sexual thoughts, and you can't. As animals who have to reproduce to survive, we're totally driven by our sexual desires.
Back to the science.
And yet we don't. It's shocking for people to talk about, and I just can't get my head around it.
Yeah, it's because that's where the power lies, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, of course, sexually, the ability to get a mate and reproduce is incredibly powerful.
Where the power lies, which is why it becomes taboo. And
I'm just thinking it's because the word wet ass pussy will never fall on ears. Like, such a sweet sound of wet ass pussy.
Is that a wet ass pussy I hear? Hey.
Oh, it's such a good song. It's so catchy as well.
Oh God, it is. I've listened to it too much.
It's wet and cushy.
Wet and cushy. Wet.
Yeah.
Lots of tigers and stuff in the video.
Yeah. Interesting videos. I just love that they put all the other females apart from Kylie Jenner, all the other women in that video are like up and coming artists. One of them is like famous from an OnlyFans, and it was like real girls together kind of thing, which I loved.
I like it.
Yeah, it's great. We should do one.
We should do one.
We should do a video about something.
Wet ass psychiatrist. What?
Oh my God.
Wow.
I feel like it's been locked down for too long, Kirsty. You need to get out, mate.
I need to go for a walk.
6 weeks. Can I just have my moment?
Oh God.
We're at psychiatry. Oh my God. So good.
But I have this like fantasy where we can live in a world where it's acceptable to tell someone that you're having a sexual thought about them. This is like how I'm sure a lot of people
it could get so messy.
Yeah, but if it was normalized, I mean, this is really going off on a fancy here.
Quite
normalized, where you could just be like, oh yeah, like I had a wank over you last night.
I tell people if I've had like sexual dreams about them, because then it's kind of separate from me because it's a dream.
Yeah, but imagine if you could name what was going on, because these sexual dynamics are everywhere. That they're absolutely.
It fills me with anxiety just thinking about that. It's weird, isn't it?
Imagine if you would just know how to name it. If you just like, oh yeah, just staring at your dick.
Yeah.
Just thinking about it.
People stare at boobs. People stare at.
Oh, some old man did that to me yesterday and he vomited.
I guess yeah. I suppose it can feel very uncomfortable when someone does do that to you when it's named. But I imagine if you could live in a world where you could name it and it wasn't uncomfortable.
Yeah,
I mean, it's never
how
point of
where on the creepy scale it is.
Yeah, well, that's the
Like
thing.
a very young woman, and
It would have to be very much, this is a thought, but I don't have any intention of acting on it.
yeah. And I guess you'd never know, would you?
No.
A meeting at work would just be chaos.
We'd never get anything done.
Who's taking minutes?
I've just written "want to suck your cock" several times. have I got the gist of the video? I don't know.
Oh God, and society would fall.
Keep your sexual thoughts to yourself, please. Come on, women.
It would get so messy with all the WAP.
Oh God. Yeah, you would never get anything done. It'd be pretty much
Done.
at the same time, maybe you wouldn't need to get anything done. Like you wouldn't, humanity wouldn't need to go to war because everyone would just be able to state what it was actually about.
Yes. Oh my God, yes.
Instead of fighting over like oil, we'd just be able to say, oh, it's because actually I have these sexual thoughts.
Yeah.
About your mum.
We wouldn't need to do it.
I mean,
I feel like this is less structured and or academic than our usual videos.
Okay.
But, it's a 10th episode. We're
We
really
have like a hiatus. Give us a break. And yes, I am playing with my hair a lot, but it's going to happen. So accept it for what it is.
mark my words, there'll be a Cochrane review about this soon.
Cochrane. A Cochrane review. Does it migrate?
Oh God.
I'm sure there will be. I think if there's not, we should do a Cochrane review about WAP.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was that recent. What was that recent paper that some surgeons put out?
Oh, what about ugly women?
About female doctors putting photos of themselves in bikinis on social media.
Okay, no, I was thinking about something else.
Yeah. So there was a recent paper. So this is a scientific paper that was published in a serious scientific journal.
Oh, I know. I've heard about this.
By multiple male surgeons saying that
of course they were surgeons.
No, there was a female on the list as well. I mean,
yeah, there's what? Yeah, they're right. It was about.
Probably there just for the bloody numbers. Like, come on.
There was
publication.
It was 9 men and 1 female surgeon, all surgeons, and they put out a serious study where they had created false social media accounts to stalk other female doctors and medical students, posting photos of them in their bikinis. And the point of the paper was to say this is unprofessional and it shouldn't be done. There are just so many things wrong and disturbing. And this was published, serious scientific paper.
Who published it?
I know. It got retracted, so it did get retracted because
But it got published, Chloe. It went through a process, and somebody said, "Yeah, okay."
It was peer reviewed.
by other surgeon pervs.
So they stalked female colleagues with fake accounts and then shamed them for having their bodies on display.
What was the hashtag? Hashtag med-bikini.
Med-bikini, yeah.
But the point of a scientific paper is to prove something. So what were they trying to?
The proof was that young female doctors don't know how to use social media appropriately. As if that's a scientific outcome. I don't know. Like maybe go and do a proper study.
Well, after this, I'm putting a video on my Instagram of me twerking, so they're gonna have a great day with that.
Damn straight. Oh yeah, so okay, we've sort of said a lot about WAP. Obviously, we all feel quite strongly about it, and I do recognise this hasn't been our usual informative academic sort of episode.
I mean, it's never really that academic.
No, good point. But usually we have a few more facts and stuff.
Highbrow academia on psychiatrics.
Highbrow scientific academia. No, but it is important that that there's sexual shame is at the heart of a lot of mental illness. It's really, really important, and I think this song really represents the kind of reaction that people have to women having sexuality and how damaging that can be for society to have that response.
Yeah.
Let it out, women. Express yourself.
Express your WAP.
Get that wet ass pussy out.
Maybe don't
bucket and a mop for that. I don't have a bucket and mop because I don't clean. But if I did, I would bring it for this wet ass pussy.
macaroni in a pot.
Great. Hope you enjoyed episode 10. Sorry about the hiatus. Let us know your views and opinions on having a wet ass pussy. Or if you're a man, how do you feel about a woman saying they have a wet ass pussy?
Oh yeah, that's good. Because we're rabbiting on about like women and what we think. Tell us what you think. Let's have a debate. Come on.
Are you into women having a wet ass pussy? And
I'm sure you are. If you're having sex with them, I'm sure that's what you want.
Wet ass pussy.
Yeah.